Hola amigos, I have been reading CK3's dev diaries for the Fate of Iberia DLC, and it is crazy to think that the release date is finally upon us. I had the chance to play through a full game with Fate of Iberia and prep myself with several of the dev diary videos that you can check out in the playlist section of the channel. With that in mind, I feel confident in saying that I can give a complete, unbiased review of the content pack. Fate of Iberia, being Paradox's third DLC and second content pack for Crusader Kings 3, has a lot riding on its shoulders. The game has been out for over 2 years and not a lot has happened in terms of content development compared to other titles such as Stellaris. Likewise, it is not unreasonable to draw comparisons between Northern Lords, the first DLC, and its Spanish cousin, Fate of Iberia. For example, Northern Lords is a much more decentralized content pack. Yes, it is a plethora of major events and decisions that add flavor to the game, but it lacks the struggle system which sits at the center of Fate of Iberia. That's not to say that Fate of Iberia was lacking in any flavor. I was actually quite impressed with how much depth was added to character interactions, which I will get into later. This struggle mechanic adds a way for the developers to look at certain regions such as Spain and add an extended way for the player to interact and involve themselves with the region's events and way of life. While it certainly doesn't deliver the same hit of dopamine that important choices like forging the Yoms Vikings or reforming paganism in Northern Lords does, it is a refreshing reminder of the versatility of the dev team behind CK3. After playing through my first run from Count to Emperor, I really enjoyed the unique eras that the struggle baked into my game. Open marriages allowed me to have interesting defensive pacts with unlikely Muslim allies, and struggle feuds catapulted me onto the world stage in less than a generation. Of course, both of these decisions had consequences which made me appreciate the chaotic genius to the system, and there is a careful balancing act between getting the player too involved and not involved enough. You need to be able to give the player pieces of information and rewards with each passing phase of the struggle, but too much at one time will make all of the forthcoming events repetitive and utterly unsatisfying. Too little and the player simply loses interest. That said, I feel this DLC could do a better job at highlighting major events. Giving players a pop-up every now and then about a significant conquest or marriage would help with immersion for me personally. Speaking of immersion, I also want to get back to the player interactions that I teased earlier. With Royal Court, cultures became the forefront of every nation, and Paradox is not backing down from the strategy in the slightest with Fate of Iberia. Almost immediately upon playing my first character, a count in northern Spain, I was shocked by the new choices. Due to me being Andalusian and Mozarabic, I could challenge players to chess matches, befriend new and unfamiliar characters, or even hunt for the illustrious Cheese Vikings while reforming old, ancient religions. If you were worrying about whether this DLC would deliver on replay value, it certainly has for me as someone that has stuck to Northern Europe ever since the first content pack landed. With this in mind, remember how I mentioned my sudden rise to power from literally Count to Emperor? I felt that power balancing was a bit off, and some of the casus belli were a bit too strong. A perfect example of this is the struggle feud. All I need to do is be next to a neighbor, and I can take a substantial portion of their lands for a little prestige if I married my daughters off to the right neighbor. And therein lies the problem. Rapidly expanding and killing off rivals is made a bit too easy, which takes from the feeling of overall accomplishment. The last point that I wanted to talk about was the two new faiths introduced, Mozarabic and the Basque pagan faith. While I didn't get too much time to play around and revive paganism, I did enjoy the crossroads that Mozarabs faced. Historically, it seemed like this religion was doomed to fail and make a choice between two larger factions, the Catholics and Muslims. Yet with my player, I was given the choice to say no, and split off from the Pope. With one decision, I changed history and had a truly different kingdom that stood out from the rest. And that is what I truly appreciate about this DLC. Fate of Iberia offers numerous chances and choices where the player can do whatever they like, and the flavor and struggle provides tools necessary to see this through. Fate of Iberia may have a few nicks and scratches, but it shines brilliantly in many of the areas that matter, and because of that I am giving this content pack an 8.5 out of 10. If you don't already have it, I would recommend picking up Fate of Iberia if you are looking for a new take and experience for your CK3 misadventures. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to my channel for more content. We are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers and every bit counts. Thank you for watching to the end. Peace.